Hello, everyone, and welcome to the digital conference of day 2 of the EFMD Global Fairs by Hired. My name is Amber Wigmore-Alvarez. I'm Chief Talent Officer at Hired, and it's a great pleasure to moderate this session on Up Close and Personal with BBVA. We have two special guests with us today. Allow me to introduce them, and I have some questions for them to get it started, but we strongly encourage you to use the chat, send in your questions, and I'll be fielding those to our guest, to Cristina and Ophelie throughout. So please let me introduce, first of all, we have Cristina Gabriel, who is the Global CHRO of BBVA Engineering. Cristina is the global leader of HR BBVA Engineering. Her main challenge in this role is to contribute to BBVA's digital change, managing and transforming the engineering workforce. She has been related to technology and strategy in her career, and before joining BBVA, she worked at McKinsey and previously at Hitachi High Technologies America in Palo Alto, California, and also for CERN, which is the European Organization for Nuclear Research in Geneva. Cristina is an electrical engineer from the Universidad Politécnica de Madrid with an MBA from the Stanford Graduate School of Business. A warm welcome for Cristina Gabriel. She is also joined by her colleague, Ophelie Richard, who is the BBVA Global Head of Talent Acquisition. Ophelie is a global HR strategist that creates, leads, and executes talent acquisition strategies to ensure constant access to key talent in order to compete and meet business objectives in a global, complex, and constantly changing environment. Ophelie studied hospitality industry management at l'École Hôtelière de Lausanne and an MBA at EGADE in Mexico with a specialization in corporate entrepreneurship at HEC Paris. She worked in several companies from the service industry before joining BBVA 10 years ago, first in Mexico and for the past 4 years in Spain. We welcome Ophelie as well to the show. Great to be here with both of you.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Excellent. So we want to get up close and personal. We have an extremely diverse audience of talent connecting from more than 100 schools all over the globe. And I want to touch on some of the key topics that's on their minds when it comes to, I'm going to be asking you about the remote work, the Great Resignation, STEM talent. I know you're focused on STEM. But first, just to set the scene, I would like to hear how you would describe your own personal and professional journey in the talent space.
Well, thank you, Amber, for having us. And speaking from myself, I will say 2 words: it's eclectic and international. I was seeking opportunities where my curiosity led me in, and also my ambition. And here I am today.
Excellent.
Great. So thank you, Amber. If Ophelie has used 2 words, let me use also 2 words. I will say passionate and full of curiosity, because I'm always trying to look to create impact in every step and in every moment of what I am doing, both in technology and also in talent.
Excellent. I love the way you very concisely put that. Now, there's talent out there that don't always have quite clear their journey. How did you think about the opportunities and the type of work that you wanted to engage in?
So this is something I'm going to answer. So when I started, I was sure about the word I wanted to explore. And at that time, I wanted to be a manager, or at least considered to be a good one. And for me, it was super important to learn how to manage team. And I had that opportunity during the different milestones of my career. So I could do that because I was focused on leading teams. And then when I joined BBVA, I was extremely blessed because BBVA trained me to be a manager, and I improved my leadership skills. So that, for me, in my personal and professional journey, this is something important. And the other hand, I was moved by big projects or high volume projects, and where coordination and time were key factors for success. So those 2 things for me, regarding how I can increase my leadership skills and how to be a good manager, and then working in a big project with teams and executing actions and tangible action, that had lead me, and has been something that is present today still in my career. And then you have some gifts along the way. So the most rewarding part of my career when was I built from scratch a high performance team, and we were able to deliver. So when you achieve something you were looking for your whole professional career, then you want to repeat it again.
Very good, Ophelie. And I would love to hear from whoever would like to respond. Did your career bring you to somewhere different than you thought you would be?
Okay, let me take this one because in my case, definitely. I'm an electrical engineer, so I love the technical stuff. I was doing research and innovation both in the States and in Geneva, like doing all the nitty gritty details, like with components. And suddenly I'm working at engineering, but in a talent part, in HR. And some people can think, how have you ended there? Because you have to take challenges and you have to be open-minded. Sometimes you want to work in a path and opportunities are present. You cannot be afraid of taking them because there is something that you can learn. So there is always this common thing about don't being afraid of taking risk and having every opportunity like a learning experience. And at the end, if you are contributing, if you are doing something that is meaningful for you, let's just do it.
And what did you learn in the process, Cristina?
Oh, I learned how to be more collaborative, how to understand different perspectives from the people, and how it doesn't depend in which area you are working. At the end, it depends on the purpose and on the delivery that you are doing. Like, for example, technology is really important, but for what? You need to find what that technology is used for. And if the talent is the same, talent is really important, but where do you want to focus? Where the best engineer is going to work. So it's always the purpose in all of them.
We have a great question from the audience about, was there ever a quote or a book or an instance that helped you to switch from electrical to talent acquisition and settle better in the new industry?
Oh, that's a really good question. If I tell you the truth, it was not only one quote, a book. It's more like life itself. When you enter in an industry and you work in companies. I was at McKinsey. McKinsey bring a lot of opportunities in front of me because they work with projects. So I have the opportunity to see different areas and to be in front of different clients. And that's where I understood that the biggest asset that every company has is the talent. And it's when I started to change about not only doing things, but to try to understand who I was working with. And I think that was the moment when I started to change my career. And that complemented with being a manager, at Ophelie was saying, once that you start your career, you focus in delivering things. When you are growing and you are a manager, you focus on how you make people do things in the best way. So you start working with people. I think that was the switch.
So true. Great advice. Now I'm going to ask Ophelie another question from the audience. How do you build the confidence, especially when the stakes are high and the competition is fierce? We're always telling our talent that on average there's 250 applicants to every selection process, and there could be even many more depending on the target role or market. How do you build that confidence?
Well, preparation is key to that. Because the more you are prepared, the more confident you will be. So even though you are facing some interviews or you are applying to job opportunities, and you might feel like the syndrome impostor, or the impostor syndrome, sorry, or that you are afraid of giving a bad answer, is there's no bad and good answer. The things that are important for creating your confidence, so is the preparation, is the grit, and then asking questions when you don't know a little, you don't have the full picture of what sometimes the interviewer is going to ask you, or your new boss, or you are facing new situation in your life. It's important to ask questions, because the more you ask like good questions and with a purpose, the more you will know, and you will have to start having the same thread of information that will give you that confidence you're looking for.
Great. Now, a two-part question, and I wanted to ask you first about the STEM opportunities at BBVA, which we have in the title of the session. But a second part to that question, which would be more general, is from the audience. What kind of capabilities or special skills do you think we need if we want to apply for BBVA? So maybe start by mentioning some of those opportunities in STEM, and then what kinds of special capabilities. And then I would just add and remind our audience that immediately following this digital conference with Cristina and Ophelie, the recruiters will be back in the virtual stand at BBVA and eager to engage with you. So I'll allow you to answer that.
Yeah, so let me take this one. So when you think about the STEM, I think the biggest opportunities that the BBVA can offer is that you are going to be working in high-performing teams with the coolest or more innovative technical staff, but also having an impact in society. So for us, it's really important to have a purpose in why we are doing technology and how that technology is going to be used in a bank, because at the end, bank has to, how we say, roll the window and open the window every morning, to make things work. Why is this an opportunity? Because when you work with high performance team, you are learning all the time. And when you are in an innovative and agile environment, you are learning faster than in other places. I try to think that, and in things that you can use not only at BBVA, but also in your personal life, or if you like technical stuff, in the hobbies and that you have. And also having a purpose, what you do, you feel like a reward. You feel a reward because you are seeing that what you are building is going to be used for someone. So linking with that, what are the skills that you need? And I think this is not only for engineering, it's generally in the whole BBVA. I could make a long list, but let me choose 3. One of them is being open-minded. We're a global bank. We have a lot of cultures, and every culture has things to bring to the table. So if you are open-minded, you can absorb and make things move faster. That is one thing. Second, to have drive, to be eager to move things, to propose ideas, to be part of a team, to collaborate, because we're a really collaborative organization. And the third thing is, don't be afraid of taking risk, because we are always like in the age of the things, trying to bring new stuff. So you always have to take the risk of trying new things.
Great advice. And we have a number of questions coming in that are regarding the CV. So I just want to take the opportunity to remind the audience that we have more CV clinics coming, and I'll be sharing the details of those following the session, following the digital conference, so we can help optimize your CVs. I have another question for both of you, which is, when starting a career, our talent often look for a brand, a specific job objective. But what about the right workplace culture? You're both leaders in a global organization that hires thousands. What is your advice on how our talent can identify a culture that works for them?
Well, I will follow on this. So this is a very interesting question, and it's key when seeking a job. And I often say that we assess more data and information when we want to buy a car than when we have to assess a company we want to work for. And on the other hand, we are bombarded with information like never before, and it's difficult to understand what is the good from the bad, or give you an opinion on which company you should apply, because that workplace culture is it's something meaningful for you. So my piece of advice is to ask yourselves 2 questions. First, does this company meet my expectation? Type of industry, clients, present and future strategy, social impact, social commitments. What does matter to me regarding this? And the second questions you might yourselves to ask is, do I identify with its purpose and its value? Is there an alignment with my identity? And so, for example, if I share some information regarding BBVA, in BBVA, we have a very strong purpose, and Cristina was saying before, and this to bring the age of opportunity to everyone, and that guides everything we do. We're a purpose-driven bank. And regarding our values that I will share with you, it's customer come first, we think big, and we're one team, and that define our identity. So for us, it's super clear and crystal clear when we come to some fairs, or when we share our culture with outside the BBVA, that is so embedded in us, that it's easy for a candidate to see if that is match in his or her culture stream or strength they want to pursue in their professional life.
Yeah, I
And
couldn't agree more with what Ophelie had said.
and has BBVA's work culture been affected by the remote work culture?
Yes or not? Let me explain this, because we really have a good starting point. You see, we have always been a flexible work, because as we are global, we are used to having different time zones, to accommodate to different realities. So we were already, like used to being maybe not in remote, but in a flexible environment. What remoticity has done is to accelerate this path, and also bring formality. As you know, like we have already communicated, like BBVA, that we are going to be working in a hybrid working mode, like 60% from the bank, 40% from home, but also with that really flexible environment that is what we have always like put into the table, So because we understand that not only people are different, but a same person can be having different moments during their life. So there is a moment when you need to have more flexibility in the mornings, others in the afternoons, because your hobbies are different, because you have families you don't have. So the bank thinks in the employee and give that flexibility so they can combine both like the personal life with the professional life. Because if you are full in one, you are going to be like really full in the other.
Very true. Thank you for that, Cristina. And I'm going to be asking you both some specific questions about the selection process. But before I do, we have a couple more questions from the audience that are regarding career path and setbacks. So the first one is, how do you choose the right career path? And what are the factors that you need to consider to achieve success in your career?
Well, that is a difficult question to answer, because it depends. It depends on your dreams also, and maybe you don't know already what you want to do. And I will say to you, try. And when you try, you will start a path, and that path will learn new things to you. And sometimes you will be in uncertain environments regarding your personal and professional life, because there's no two lives. You are not one person in your personal life, another one in your professional life. It's only a one. So it's a continuous journey of your life, and you will face uncertain moments. And always, what you need to consider, if that career path goes with your value, with the identity, with the things that it thrives you, and are along with your dreams. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, try to be an entrepreneur, and then you might realize, well, it's not that it wasn't meant for me, and then you can come back to one company, and then you can try again another experience being an entrepreneur. So you can have multiple careers, you can have multiple options, but just try. Don't be afraid to try, because failure is part of the process.
Yes, and the multiple careers surveys say that graduates of today will be working until they're 70. So we will be seeing multiple careers. And now a question connected to the first part about the career path and how do you choose that right path? And it would be, how do you deal with the setbacks or the challenges within your career? Have either of you experienced any certain setbacks and challenges and fallen, let's say, and how did you get back up and continue?
Okay, I think one important element is don't be too hard with one self. As Ophelie was saying, failure or challenges are part of the careers, and you need to understand them like learning opportunities. So if you do that, you will get the positive to face a new challenge, a new step, and don't focus only in the negative parts. And the second thing will be to ask feedback. You know, when you have a setback in your career, it's because something has happened and maybe you couldn't see it. So you need to learn from it. So asking feedback is going to be good for your career because you are not going to repeat it again. Or if you want to do it, at least you know what is happening.
I could not agree more. Seek honest advice and feedback. And now we're going to get into some specific questions. I wanted to, first of all, ask you about how BBVA selection processes have been evolving in times of digital recruitment. And we can connect it to a question from the audience about how is HR in banks evolving, if you wish.
Okay. Thank you for that question from the audience as well. So it's true that we are facing a disruptive moment, and we have to review our approach to the market talent. And first, we increase our social media presence by sharing real experience, success stories, and things that we were proud of in a good way, right? That has the merit to be shared, because we need to create the awareness that we were a bank, yes, but that we were a bank that we're considered to be the pioneers in innovation, and that we're leading the digital transformation in the final services. So, for example, if I give you some figures, in 2021, we acquired new customers through digital channels, and we increased that figure in 91% versus last year, so 2019. And so to perform this, we have we need in our organization tremendous talent to perform so, and we had to attract them. So we changed our approach to talent niches. We launched hackathons and datathons to identify new talents, while those participants learn to know how we work as well, so they get to know the bank. So we open the doors, we bring the talent to our place, and we see, hey, this is the bank. We don't wear ties anymore, and we're in open spaces. And we work in an agile environment, so we have dailies and we have small meetings, but with execution purpose. And that help us a lot in changing the face and perhaps the perception talent might have regarding talent. And so it's often that when talent come to the bank, say, but this is a bank, this is the way you work. So that is something we're proud of, and we had to we wanted really genuinely open the doors, and in our social media as well, we showcase a lot of those stories. And on the other thing, we're active in universities, and we want to increase our participation, and that's the reason we are partnering with Hired as well.
Excellent. And then once within the organization, once hired for BBVA, a question from the audience about what is the way to climb the corporate ladder at BBVA?
Oh, that's a really good question. But if I tell you the secret sauce, you know everything already. Now, the answer is to be authentic. I mean, if you're authentic and you do your job right and you are collaborative, the opportunities are coming because indeed the career path is pretty clear. So you know what to do, how to do, and you have mentors along the way, isn't it, Ophelie, who can give you guidance, because this is a really large bank. And I think the problem can be, what do I choose like my next step? You see, because there are so many careers that you can face inside the bank, so many opportunities, that sometimes we have the insider joke that we are like many banks inside only one brand. You see, because it's so different from being to one department to another department, career likewise, that it offers hundreds of opportunities, isn't it?
Yeah, and if I have to add on this, you have the corporate ladder, which is vertical, but then you have a lot of opportunity horizontal speaking. So you might have and earn new experience by changing job, but still you are in the same role, but you change departments, you change functions, you meet new teams, you are in new projects, and that adds a lot of input to your employability and to increase that employability. Um, that is important as well, because you create your own network, and that gives you the tools you might need for the future when you want to choose to change your career, or you think, I'm done with, or I'm done with this project and I would like to change. So if I have to share something personal on the personal note, I have a career switch, very important. When I moved to Madrid, I wasn't in HR, so I had that opportunity in BBVA, and Cristina as well. She switched completely her career within the same company, and it's a gift that we have in BBVA, and we have a lot of success stories like this, such as Cristina and I.
You're providing excellent advice, and we have so many in the audience clearly that will be applying to BBVA. We have someone asking, how does the future of work look like for BBVA?
Well, the future of work is remote, is hybrid, is with collaborative environments, and evolving our leadership skills as well, because the pandemic give us today a new era, and we haven't seen yet all the consequences of that, but we are since the beginning, and Cristina was saying that impact the pandemic of our culture, we didn't felt that much because we were already flexible and collaborative, but still we have to increase those tools to give assets to managers and to all the teams working to be more collaborative and giving more results that we were doing before. So the future of the work, we are creating and building that future of work all together with all the companies and with all the society, and we will speak about the great resignation as well, because that is something that has an impact on the future of work. So still it's hard to just to finish my question, and in a nutshell, it's hard to say today the future of work, because we haven't seen all the consequences of the pandemic, but we're working day by day to create a better future, to have a work-life balance in your life. As I was saying, you have one life and you go back and forward in your personal and professional life, and we have to give the tools and the opportunities. As a company, we have that responsibility to make you happy and be the best you can do in your position in your current role.
Excellent.
And if I can add, we are always listening, isn't it, Ophelie? We are a bank that we don't say, hey, this is our position and that's it. We are listening what our employees, what the society, and what is happening in the world to adapt for what is best for our employees.
Squirrel. Jeff. Excellent. All right. Now we can take the Great Resignation question now. Ophelie just raised it. I'm happy to get your take on that. The Great Resignation, the Great Realization, the Great Reshuffle. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, let me take this one. I believe the three of them are real, and they are happening just now. It depends on the person. And what I mean with this, so it depends on in which moment everyone is. Because when you think about the Great Resignation, it's because you are trying to find purpose in what you are doing. When you think about the Great Realization, it's because you want to follow a dream, And when you think about the Great Reshuffle, it's because you want to change career, something different. So the three of them can happen. It depends on what you want. For example, the three things are happening inside the group, and it doesn't mean that people are leaving the group. It means that, for example, at BBVA, as we were telling, we are a global group. It offers a lot of vertical and horizontal careers. Some people think, hey, I want to dedicate my life to do things in sustainability because we have created a new area, functional area about sustainability. So people are raising their hands, hey, I want to move there. And some people have realized that they want to have a different career, a change career path. So some people from legal, they decide that they want to code. So they are learning to code, and we are inserting them, in technological projects so they can evolve. So these things are happening, and there is no right or wrong. It depends on what you want in your life.
And I suppose that's exactly where the great realization comes in. There's recommendations from certain employers not to just quickly resign from one's position and actually explore if there are other opportunities within the organization.
Yeah, and understanding your own authenticity. Someone from the audience was asking, like, how do you find your authenticity? If you can evolve it, of course, because you have to realize who you are, and you are starting a point, and then you start to understand yourself and who you really are, and it means you are evolving like life.
And I'm sure you've both heard of the purple squirrel concept in HR, of that persona, that ideal candidate that meets all the skills and qualifications and criteria. There's a question from the audience. I noticed that so many job adverts seek the perfect employee, a Superman that are high performing, very specific qualifications. Real people are not perfect. How do we deal with this?
Yeah, well, it's the perfect employee. It's something that doesn't exist in a job application or in a job offer. We the important thing, and when you're looking for job offers, is to see that you have some hard skills that the company is looking for and some preferable skills. So it doesn't mean that if you don't feel the 100% of the skills that that job offer is offering, you don't have to apply. Okay, so that is important for you to know. So there's a one part of that job ad that is something that is extremely important for the company, that they're looking for those technical skills, for example, because if you want to you are working as a data scientist, you might need to do to know a little bit about numbers and Python, for example. But on the other side, when you get to the interview, or when you have the chance to showcase by your CVs or by videos or by your social media who you are, that is what is important for companies. So that when the perfect employee comes, when there's a fitting with the culture and the identity of the company. And uh, Cristina was saying the skills we're looking for, like the drive, the grit. I will add as well how creative you are, how you are solving problems, how are your leadership skills. Everyone can be a leader. It's not like you're a leader because you lead people because you're the boss. It's how you influence some other groups, or some acquaintance you might have in your personal life. For example, if you practice a sport, or you do some voluntary actions within your community. So that is not the perfect candidate for the companies. Who makes you perfect on your values and your identity, what is important.
Great. And now a question from the audience, which is related to that, and specifically from early careers talent. What would you recommend for juniors who know exactly what they want to do and they're eager to learn, but they can't step foot into their field because most companies ask for 2+ years of experience or more?
Okay, so it's true that it is happening, So what I will do is to focus in what makes me distinctive. Everyone has in their experience before having the first job, like opportunity during the summers, a really key project that you have to at school, something that has marked your life. So to put that in the CV and to apply, because as Ophelie was saying before, if you don't try, you don't risk. So if you don't apply just only because they ask for 2+ year experience, of course you are not going to be there. So you are the first one who has to be invited to the party. And then if you claim that thing that makes you, or you believe that makes you distinctive, I'm pretty sure that it points out when you read all the CVs.
Great. And now I had a question about diversity and inclusion, and I see there's a question from the audience. Well, I'll read first the question from the audience, but you feel free to respond as you wish. The question is about, for a position that is qualified, has a qualified candidate from both a minority and a majority group, who would you choose? And I will connect that with my question, which is, what is BBVA doing to expand your diversity and inclusion efforts?
Well, our commitment to D&I is solid, and BBVA has ranked as the most committed company to gender equity according to Bloomberg. So that's translates into creating an atmosphere of trust of work in which professional development and equal opportunities are guaranteed for the entire workforce. So equal opportunities, regarding that question from the audience, it's supreme for us. And it's something we really looking for when we assess candidates. It's not like we will choose the best candidate for that position. That's the right answer.
Very good. And then once you've selected that candidate in the onboarding, what does the onboarding process look like now?
Well, onboarding is a natural human process, and we understand it takes time to build relationship and confidence in that new environment. So we have some guides for the hiring managers, and we created a checklist for day one. And it's important that you get all the information you need for that first day. And for us, it's three important key elements. So the first is introduction to all the stakeholders you might encounter during your new role, going through the details about the role and responsibilities that you should carry out, and then confirm, this is super important, it's not a given, confirm appropriate access to all digital tools used in the workplace, because it's so frustrating that you come the first day of work and nothing works, especially coming to a digital company. So for us it's super important, this part of the onboarding process. And then we esteem that the onboarding process should last at least 1 month. So we expect you after those 30 days that you are able to take your own decisions, that the work simply flies by, and you are settled into day-to-day routines, and you are able to solve almost all the complicated issues on your own.
So it is quite quick, a 1 month onboarding where you would feel that they would be set up for success in their role. So it does sound like you have it well
Yeah.
structured and holistic.
Yeah, on the other hand, and maybe it's not part of the onboarding process, but it's part of our culture, we have the feedback session that we encourage a lot between managers and teams. And then if you want to increase your awareness about the company, we have tools that makes you to have access to mentors. So sometimes you might don't know about for example, I am engineering, but I want to know about corporate investment banking, because even though I've been here like 6 months, but I have to understand a little bit more, because I have to create tools for those of them. So I can ask for a mentor, and then that is a different kind of onboarding, but it's more like your personal choice of asking for help, but good help in a good way, to get to know more the company and have the right tools to perform in your job.
Very good. And I always say there's nothing professionally that should keep us up at night. But if I were just to phrase it like that, what would keep you up at night from a talent perspective as we initiate the second quarter of 2022?
And that's a really good question, Amber. So really the answer is to make the team happy, and this the clients and the team is the employees. I think about the engineering colleagues that I have here, and to make them happy and satisfied with their job, it means to give them like all the tools they can have to accomplish the job task that they have. And it means give them the learning opportunities, both formal and on the job, because learning from other colleagues is also really important. And also listening to them, because everyone, is true that we are a lot of employees, but everyone has different necessities, and being close to the employees and understanding what they need in what step of their career, it's important for us.
And what do you, as we talk about steps of career, what do you hope someone would have told you at the start of your career?
Do you want to start, Ophelie?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I will say that don't worry so much, and I think I have seen also this in the audience question is don't worry so much about if is this the right first step, the right career path, where are going to end, but just think about learning, enjoy the process, because even if you don't understand what you are learning in that moment and what the experience is bringing you to the table, you are going to see at the end in your career how all the pieces, it fits to give you the complete picture of who you are. That will be my piece of advice.
Nice. And Ophelie?
Yeah, and my piece of advice, just breathe. It's important. Be nice to people, be empathetic, breathe, have patience. Don't take things too much too personal. That is important one as well. And create your own path. There's not You are in an era where you have a lot of opportunities, a lot of choices, different from the one that we had when we were on your shoes like long time ago, and the ones that our fathers had at that time. So you are in a global environment. You are ultra connected with digital tools that can have access to different cultures and different opportunities. So don't be afraid to try. You're just starting. You have a long way, and breathe a lot and enjoy the process.
Now, there's been many questions by the audience in terms of what job functions are you looking for, remote opportunities, people that are asking about do you sponsor visas. So a number of those questions, if you prefer, we can guide them to connect with your colleagues immediately following the session.
Yeah, that would
And
be great.
now,
Definitely.
excellent. That's what I thought. And then I would ask you both for advice as they continue engaging with your colleagues and other employers here at the fairs. What is your best piece of advice for how can they engage best with target employers in a digital recruitment environment such as the virtual fairs?
Yeah, well, I was saying before, but I will say it again because I like when the people ask that question. So ask questions and be curious. And if you are really interested in working with a company, let them know. Showcase your motivation and which is the positive impact you can implement it if you get hired. How you can add value to that company because you have gifts for us as well. So show them.
And now a question from the audience about how do you know when to stop formal education? I believe we're continuously learning, but at what point would you say better to have a professional experience or even volunteer work or an internship versus continuing education?
I think that's really personal, because it depends also not only in yourself, but in the field or the career that you have chosen, because it cannot be the same maybe in legal, marketing, or engineering. But I will recommend everyone to have internships because you learn different things when you are on the field that when you are having formal education. And you learn because uh, being in teams, you understand how decisions are taken, what kind of culture you fit or you doesn't fit, so it opens your mind in different aspects that maybe in the formal education you cannot discover so easily that when you are having a job.
Right, and I'm glad you responded. Do you want to add something, Ophelie?
Yeah, that the time will answer that questions. We have data that a skill lasts. You lose 60% of your skills each year. Okay, so that is an important figure for you to know because the disruption and the technology and the innovation that are continually booming and blossoming in different areas forces you to still learning. So that the continuous learning, as yes, you continuous learning, but it's true, it's true. So that formal education can be some webinars that last like 1 month or 1 hour, but still you never has to lose this student mindset. It's important to keep that all your life because you are always learning.
Excellent.
Definitely.
The student mindset, and also thank you, Cristina, for mentioning about the internship, because we also had a question about what about students who don't have that work experience and how to make the best use of the summer internship. So you already responded to that well. I want to ask another question from our audience, which is, what are the most important corporate goals at BBVA that are a mandate for all the employees to fulfill?
I think we have talked about this before. Ophelie was mentioning it. BBVA has a purpose that is to bring the age of opportunity to everyone. So it doesn't matter in which department or function you are. You know that what you are doing, it has to have a meaning. You know, and when you check back at the day when you finish, if you what you have been doing has fulfilled that purpose, is because you are in the right direction, you know, and there's no one controlling it. It's your own mindset, and this is important because the second thing that is relevant for us is to follow our values. You know, we have three values that customer goes first, we have to think big, and we are one team, and that has to be real and coherent in every action that we take, because for us, trusting to each other, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Please, Ophelie.
No, yes, that so we assess that when you are in interviews, even for internship, we do assess that fitting to our values. It's relevant.
I'm glad you touched on that. Do you want to add anything more about exactly what you're assessing for when you look for that fit? What types of assessments? Is it an online assessment? They're continuously, our talent, asking us for practice assessments. What can they be doing here to potentially prepare?
Well, there's not good or bad answer in those assessments. So we have that values assessment to see the fit you might have with the BBVA profile that we have defined. That is the one that Cristina and I was saying before as well. And then then you will have psychometrical tests uh, that we embed within the journey of the assessment. And then depending on the position or depending of the program, you might have an assessment center. So we ask one question and you have to debate about that question. And then some I mentioned that before, but we created a datathon one time because we had to hire data scientists. So we assess them on the field, like during the day of the datathon. So I think the first part, and this is the part of the pre-screening process, it's important for us that first step of the value assessment that we do, and then the psychometrical test, and then go. It depends on which position you are applying to. That can comes with technical assessment. For example, if you go to a data scientist position or a software position, you might have some questions regarding that skills, technical skills we're looking for, or sometimes we are creative and we create assessment center, but fully dedicated to that position. So when hired, for example, for talent programs or for internship programs.
Great. And as our talent can hear, and we're always explaining, assessments are increasingly used as part of the selection processes. So I'll just take this opportunity to remind them that you have practice assessments, the Aon assessments on your gethired.global site. So especially when you're applying to companies such as BBVA. Now, we have a question from the audience regarding networking, and I can sense where this is coming from, because we're always talking about how it's around 30% of job opportunities would be making it to an online job board. 70% are part of the hidden market. How do you tap and penetrate the hidden market? It's the networking. And the question is from a junior profile who says, as juniors, we have nothing to offer to senior managers we connect to. So any advice for junior profiles in the audience who may have this perception that when faced with the opportunity to give their pitch or to network with a senior manager, that they wouldn't have anything?
Well, you have a lot to offer. A
I
lot.
agree.
You don't even realize what you can offer to a senior manager. You have the youth. You have a new way of things. You come from a new generation that are completely digital, that was born digital. You are in having the last information regarding trends because you received that training in your university. So I guess you have much more to offer than you think, and that's something that we want to implement it here in BBVA, is to do reverse mentoring, because the mentorship idea is that you have a senior manager, a senior eminence within the organization that is mentoring you. But on the other way, you can have those success uh, situation when, for example, you know about something as skills. For example, if you are super, you understand very well the cryptocurrency or the Bitcoin, how it's going, or the metaverse, those new things, and you have within the bank people that want to try to understand about this because they want to change careers, or they want to get to more, or they want to buy Bitcoins. That's all. You can give to them a lot of information, insightful information from your point of view. So don't think you have nothing to offer ever in your life, because you have a lot to give.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with Ophelie, and I will add that do it with passion, because when you are passionate about one topic and you network about that topic, you can sense it, because it's real.
That's fantastic, and we're getting comments like, "Wow, reverse mentoring," and what a powerful response. So if anyone was doubting the value that they have to offer, just the proof that what you're saying of that reverse mentoring program. So, for example, half of the workforce is considered introvert, but jobs have more and more focus on excellent extrovert skills. Some articles say that the deck is set against introverts, even though statistics state that introverts can do similar jobs equally as well or better than extroverts. Interviews are a main hurdle. How does one counter such bias?
Okay, so let me take this one, because being the human resources of engineering, I can tell you that we have a lot of introverts, but this is not only about being introvert or extrovert. Everyone is different, and if you want to build either a diverse workforce, also like the hiring managers and people who are doing the interviews have to take this into account. And as Ophelie was saying before, for BBVA, the diversity is really important, and inclusion too. So we handle with care that you have that feeling during the interviews, and also that you put yourself on the shoes of the other person, because everyone can be there. So don't be afraid about that. Just be yourself.
Great advice. And I asked you earlier about what was the best piece of advice, or what do you wish someone had asked you at the start or advised you at the start of your career? I'm going to turn that around a bit. I'm going to say, what was the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you at any stage of your career?
Mm, that is a good one. So let me start. One thing someone told me once in life is that everything that you cannot control is context. So just focus on what you really can do. Sometimes we get too worried about, what is going to happen, if the document is going to like, if the coding is perfect or not. It doesn't matter. Just do it with your heart, because whatever thing, like the satellites, they are going to happen and you cannot control it. So just focus in enjoying, do what you have to do in the right way, or at least the way that you think is the correct one, and just follow it.
Yeah, I would say quite of the same. For me, it was like, against an emotion, do an action. Don't let your emotion lead you and gives you bad thoughts or things that makes you scared about taking a decision, or following a career path, or talk to some senior manager. So when you are facing an emotion that makes you uncertain, go through an action. That helps you a lot.
Excellent. And now a practical question from the audience about how do you deal with the nerves for aptitude tests? or assessments, if you wish?
Well, drink water to be hydrated. It's important that
Yeah,
that is
I would
you have
say,
to prepare like you are a sportsman. Okay, so you have to be concentrated. You have to be in a place you don't get any interruptions. That you are hydrated because then you have oxygen in your brain, and so you are better answering questions. So that is important. That you have a night's sleep. A good sleep night, sorry, and that you have a good meal or breakfast, and then breathe a lot. Don't be nervous. You don't have to rush things. So and again, prepare yourself. So if you are nervous, it's because you are not enough prepared, perhaps. So you have to downsize all the things you cannot control and be taking actions of the things you can control. Okay.
yeah, I was
Excellent.
going to say don't drink a lot of coffee because if not, situation is going to get worse. But totally agree with what Ophelie has said.
Completely agree. Great advice. And with the coffee as well, the caffeine contributes to dry mouth too when giving their pitch in interviews. So fantastic. Now we're coming to an end, and just based on the comments and the feedback from the audience, it is clear how much they learned from both of you. And just any final key takeaway, or what do you hope that they learned? Anything you want to leave our audience as we wrap up?
I will tell them that hope to see, I would love to see all of you at BBVA because I'm pretty sure that everyone has different things to bring to the table. So whatever thing you do in your life, do it and enjoy it completely, because as Ophelie was saying before, there is only one life. So enjoy every moment of it.
Yeah. And I will add that the road to success is very unique and personal. So keep unique and personal always.
Such wise advice. I've certainly learned so much, and the comments are incredibly positive. You both have such warm vibes, so insightful, interactive, valuable webinars. So I thank you once again for being with us up close and personal with Cristina and Ophelie from BBVA. And now I want to encourage everyone starting at 2 p.m. CEST to head on over and connect with their recruiters and ask so many of those very specific questions you had about opportunities in certain regions, visa, authorization, etc. That's what they're there for. They're here to meet you. They're looking for global, diverse talent. So get on over there, be yourselves, be authentic, and show them how you are and shine. Let your personality shine through. Thank you once again, Cristina, Ophelie, for being with us
Thank
and your
you.
generosity.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Bye.
Amber. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you. And allow me just to share what we have coming up for you for the rest of the day. As mentioned, you can now head on over and meet with the recruiters at BBVA. You will also be aware that we have the live CV clinics. We already had one that took place this morning with EDIC Business School and AXA Investment Managers. This afternoon from 4 to 5 p.m. CEST, I will be co-hosting a CV clinic with Diageo. The innovation this time around is that we're getting that recruiter perspective into the CV clinics. We literally have been welcoming hundreds through the CV clinic since we started yesterday, and we would love to see you there for an express live review of your CV. In addition, we have tomorrow 2 more CV clinics on the final day of the EFMD Global Fairs. The morning session will be with Maria Maragianis, who is the head of career development and community at Hired, and she will be co-hosting with Schneider Electric, talent acquisition specialist, and once again getting that recruiter perspective. And then the final CV clinic, we have a panel. We have co-hosts from Alba Graduate Business School, Kali. We have Vasia, who comes from a French company, Imeris. And we will have 2 co-hosts from L'Oreal, Matisse and Diogo, who will be there to give their perspective. So especially anyone interested in applying to these specific organizations, you absolutely have to be there and hear exactly what they want to see on the CV and what you should be avoiding on the CV. And then finally, tomorrow's digital conference will be with Maria Degener, who is the Brewery Operations Director for Central Europe at AB InBev. And she's going to be talking about achieving your ultimate career experience, sharing her own personal journey in supply chain, managing a team of 1,800 people. And definitely adding elements there of diversity and inclusion reflections that she has. So I thank you once again for joining us for the digital conference of day 2. My name is Amber Wigmore Alvarez, Chief Talent Officer, and it's been a great pleasure to co-host this session. Thank you.